Hello! Are you here for this week's episode too?
It has to be the first vegetable that pops in your head.
Is tomato a fruit or a veggie?
I was gonna ask, is a potato a root or a vegetable?
I will take both of those.
You'll take
Ooh,
I
how
think
about
they're
you?
vegetables. I was thinking broccoli.
Oh,
say tomato.
broccoli.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
You know.
We're the whole Veggie Tales left.
Ahem. Thank you, Mr. Nezer, for your lovely gift of chocolate. Yeah, thanks.
You're
There's
right.
potatoes in
I think so. Right?
Maybe.
I thought
If
there
there's a
was.
pickle, I feel like
A
there has to be
pickle.
a potato. There's definitely a tomato.
Yeah, there
It's true.
is. I remember seeing tomatoes.
potato, tomato,
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 It's potatoes.
potato.
potatoes.
Apparently, different people, like some people get different orders in episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was that one of those people. Like it jumped around for me, and that's why
Yeah.
I was confused. Mine started from the middle of season 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just kept jumping like back to season 1, and then going back down, and then jumping again to like the end of season 2, and then going back and forth. That's why I was like
Oh.
panicking. Like, why is it doing this?
That's cool.
Yeah, so there were like speculations that they were changing it based on your sexuality. But like Netflix came out and confirmed that like it wasn't like that. But I think I have the article where it like talked about why people thought it was based on it, but
Mm.
okay, it says LGBTQ tech advocate Lucas Toms brought this up on Twitter, pointing out that while his account offered an episode with a queer protagonist first, his straight friend got something else. Sonny's Edge, the episode with the queer female lead, is actually the default starting point for Love, Death, and Robots. When I asked around, most people said they got it first, following the official order listed on IMDb. However, that's not universally true. Some users do see the anthology in a different order, beginning with other episodes. But Netflix did come out and then said it doesn't really matter. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I feel
really
like-
that.
I feel like they can't have like an algorithm
Yeah.
for that. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, they're like, oh, we don't have that information in the first place, so we can't
Yeah.
really cater
Who made that up? What in the world?
theories on what the witness is about. One is the purgatory, and that's because there's like a continuous cycle of anxiety and stress. So what they're thinking is that they did kill someone in the past, and then they're just going through the feeling of being chased and killed, and the feeling of being caught in the act of killing. So it's just a constant punishment. And then the second one is alternative universes, which I think was the popular one. Yeah. And then the last one was a metaphorical sequence that represents a toxic relationship. It's like how they know they're really bad for each other and they hurt each other and then run from each other, but in the end they still come back to each other. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I like the first two. I feel like
I think
for
so,
me,
yeah.
the first two kind of make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely watching The Witness for me, I didn't think of the purgatory, but the alternate universe, like the glitch, like the slip in time kind of thing,
Yeah.
definitely like I got at the end. I think The Witness was one of the episodes where at the end I was like, oh, and then like it made me think again, like, wait, did I already see all this,
Yeah.
but from a different person's perspective, and then back again?
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, and also it was just so beautiful watching
It
it.
really was.
Like, yeah,
It
I
gets
just kinda
crazy
like
though.
the-
There was one
Yeah,
scene in
yeah.
there. The I
Mhm.
don't know if you guys watch American Horror Story, but there's like a gimp costume, which is basically like the black
Yeah, like
black
the latex.
suit, the latex suit. Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I think they call it the gimp in American
Uh-huh.
Horror Story, so that's how I refer to that. But yeah, that scene is a little crazy.
That was, oh my god.
It's like it's kind of graphic.
It is.
It's definitely very graphic.
It's really
but-
love death.
Yeah, yeah. But the visual effects is just like so top tier, and also when these seasons come out, I feel like it gives a lot of insight in like what's popular at the time, like
That's true.
in terms of like visual effects, animations. And I think right before Love, Death, Robot season 1 came out, like Spider-Verse was like all in.
Oh.
Like everyone was using that sort of
Mm-hmm.
style. And I think they put that in The Witness too, intentionally, because it was really in. Because I
It
feel
was.
like Jabaro,
Yeah.
they didn't really have that. Ibaro?
Oh yeah.
I
Jibaro?
don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the
Hibaro?
J's and H are.
Ibaro?
Jibaro?
In
Hibaro?
Korean,
Jibaro
it says
means
hibaro.
huh?
Heap.
But you know how in Spanish it's ja 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 as ha ha ha. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, is the J the H? I don't know.
Jibaro.
It's a I literally read it in an article, but I didn't write it down.
Mhm.
It is Spanish, and I forget what it means. I think it's like
Oh,
someone
oh,
taking over.
yeah. I think I read what you read.
Mm-hmm.
I read a couple analyses. What is it, words? About the episode, and yeah, it's hold on, I'm gonna look it up. It's a word meaning like for someone who like conqueror,
Hungers. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
sensory overload, but not at all. It's like ironic to say it's sensory overload, but
Yeah.
like I think the witness and then Hibaro, that one was also it made me dizzy. Like I had to like stop for like a second and then
Overwhelming.
replay it because at first, especially in the beginning of the Hibaro, I thought my volume was off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I thought there was something wrong with my
Wow.
sound. But then I got it and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so good.
It is.
Yeah. I was reading analysis while you look for that article, but um they're like in love with each other, but for the wrong reasons.
Mm.
Like
Oh.
she killed everyone through her screaming or whatever sound she
Uh-huh.
made, but and then the guy got deaf from that, so he couldn't hear her, so she couldn't kill him. But then
Uh-huh.
the guy is really like, he wanted the jewelry, the luxury in her
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
body and killed her for that. Oh, this is really interesting. I didn't realize he went deaf, but that makes the sound design make sense of why it like
Oh.
would go in and out and like
Uh-huh.
muffled is because he's deaf.
So good.
Here. Yeah, I
That
didn't
was.
even like put two and two together.
But Zima Blue reminded me of art school. It reminded me of like our crits and performances. I don't know why I was
Mm.
laughing by the end of that episode. Like after I was like thinking about what just happened, I
Yeah.
was like, wow, I could see this happening in real life.
Mm.
But I thought the Zima Blue story was pretty deep, and I really liked how it ended.
But the
And
visual just wasn't your
yeah, the
forte.
visuals was just not my cup of tea. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I also like for some reason you know, when I hear like a new season coming out, I really look forward to 3D stuff,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but not so much the 2D cuz like my least favorite was a recent one Kill Team Kill with
That was
the
stupid.
cybertronic bear that like is impossible to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. I just feel like this style doesn't really mesh well, but I mean, I guess you kind of have to have it there to balance out the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just not what I seek. The Fish Knight I didn't like because I don't really like when the style of like
Uh-huh.
making 3D characters and then putting 2D shaders on it. It just doesn't
Oh.
work for me. Like if you're gonna do that, make the
Mm-hmm.
characters a little bit more stylized. Like I just don't think it works with realistic proportion, personally.
Mm. I see. I
Yeah.
see.
So I liked the Drowned Giant. That one made
Oh yeah.
me genuinely really upset and disappointed in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that one, we actually like briefly discussed this, just like the three of us in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But the Drowned Giant, the whole time I was watching it, it made me realize like how ignorant people can be, humans can be, and insensitive to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that there is just another human. Well, I guess you would call him a
What
giant.
can you give the listeners or the viewers like a quick synopsis of that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so um in short, there was a huge giant body that swept up onto the shore of, I guess, like a beach. and it was just like a full-grown, huge male. Um, he was naked and he was
Very
dead.
beautiful.
Yeah, and he drowned. And he was just dead and laying there on the beach. And then people discovered him, and they started, crowding around him, kind of making a spectacle out of him. And that was just kind of like the story. And like, I guess it ends with mm, how the giant has been remembered, and also how parts of him are being displayed and things like that. And it's just really upsetting if you watch it. It makes you wonder, like, if I were that giant and I was watching everything happen, like, let's say heaven is real for giants too, and you're just watching this scene upon you where everyone's just looking at your dead body for the first couple hours, for the first couple days, and then they start exploring it. They start walking all over you, climbing all over you, vandalizing your body, and treating it as if you were something on display in like a museum, like a please touch me museum for little kids. It just made me like so sad, and I was like so disappointed. Like, why don't you have any sympathy for the poor dude? Like
Hey,
for the poor giant.
do you think they're also kind of like riding on like Christopher Columbus,
Oh,
Oh.
really?
exploring like new lands and making spectacles of people that have already lived here?
That's true.
Yeah. I
Because
guess it also like you have to ask the question, who came first? The giant or like the human, like the
yeah,
regular
yeah. I also
place?
when I first watched it, I got the impression like, oh, it's like kind of like signifying like when a whale washes up,
Yeah.
and like we literally like I don't know what happens to whales that wash up. But I remember seeing a video not long after I watched, and people just like take videos of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just disrespectful, I think.
But I definitely feel like it was a play on something similar like that, because they switched it though, because the whale, it's another animal, I guess, like a mammal. Like we don't, I mean, some people could, but we don't necessarily sympathize with whales as we would with another human. And this giant was a human. Even though he was like 30 times bigger than everyone else, he was a giant human. And there were parts that like physically pained me to watch, because yeah, it was just really upsetting. And the whole vandalizing and people just like little kids just like jumping on him and everything, and it was a lot. But I think it was one of my favorite episodes too, though, because it was just so, it was deep. You should not put so much trust into AIs and robots and automated machines and whatnot. But like I was watching another Netflix show, I forget what it was, but it was showing all this footage of how companies are trying to create more fluid, human-like, animal-like machinery. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, yes, I understand, for the advancement of technology and,
Yeah.
our world is changing. However, there are so many movies. Literally, this episode, the automated customer service, I forget if that's the right one, but literally shows you why you should not let robots take over your daily life. Roombas are enough, vacuums are enough. Like your phone listening to you, that's enough. Like anything else, like automated dogs, that seemed a little scary to
Weird.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Automated like
We just
home
never learn, guys.
cleaners.
We really
Like
don't.
Yeah,
there's been so many movies like warning us literally. Also, like if we ever get the chance to go to Mars, I will not be going.
I will
I,
I
not be
have
going
seen
as well.
I have seen enough movies. So I take those as warnings.